The story of the boat with Rav.
Yes.
The famous boat story. Come on, people.
When the woman asked, and one of them answered, the other one said, "Don't you think we should wait for the elder to come before we answer?" And then Rav came and gave an answer.
We learned that yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, I must have been totally out. Yeah, they were traveling in a ferry. Menachem, Rabbi, Rabbi Barama.
I gave you the motorcycle. You got distracted.
Okay, so today we're going to start from Neilad Leimum B'Teich Shenasei Rashai L'Kaim Kol Yud Beis Chodesh. It's Chav Ches.
Oh yeah.
It's Chav Ches Amud Aleph, about 8 lines from the top. Okay. This is a classic piece of Gemara. What happened is the Mishnah says that if a mum occurs, a mum happens, a blemish happens in the animal during its first year, then you can keep it for those 12 months. And then it says that after 12 months, you can only keep it 30 days. The Gemara is going to take apart this. That after 12 months, you can keep it 30 days. What do you mean after 12 months? When can you keep it after 30 days? If the mum was in the middle or if the mum was after? It doesn't say. It's one of these sentence structures that's so ambiguous. So Iboilu, they asked the question. Heichi ka'amar noilad loy. I have to edit this. Noilad loy mum b'toich shenasei. Rashai l'kaim kol yud beis chodesh. What does it mean to say? That if it had a mum in its first year, you can keep it for 12 months. V'la'achar shenasei nami shleishim yom. So you can keep it really 12 months and 30 days after its first year. If it had a mum in its first 12 months. Or maybe maybe what it means is that if it had a mum within its 12 months, yes, you can keep it for 12 months. The sulai. But then you can't keep it anymore. Only 12 months. I added that in based on the Shita Mekabetzes. And if it had a mum after the 12 months, then you can keep it for 30 days.
So that could mean more than 13 months.
Yeah. So what it would mean is...
How do you keep a Bechor more than 12 months? What was the halacha?
So here, Rashi learned that this was talking about before you give it to the Kohen.
But there was a limit of how much.
So we're going to see that really we're talking about Bisman Hazeh. If you don't have a kohen there, let's say, so how long do you wait before you shech this animal? Oh no, I'm mixing up with Rabbi Gershon. Let's stick to Rashi. How long can you hold on to this animal before you decide just to give it to the kohen? So if it has a mum, you still don't need to give it to the kohen until the end of the 12 months. And if it doesn't have a mum, then you can hold it for however long you want. But if it has a mum, you would only have 30 days from that mum. Or, that's one pshat. That's the second pshat here. Or maybe the first pshat is that if it has a mum within its first year, you can hold it not only till the end of the year, but even 30 days after that.
Why would someone want to hold it?
Or a wool.
Well, you can't really use the wool.
Can't use it.
But when you shech it, and then you'll be able to get more wool. You want to fatten it up. So by the time you shech it, there's some meat on the bones.
Bisman Hazeh, this is assuming after the base of Mikdash.
Right.
So you can't ever bring it to sacrifice it.
Shech didn't eat.
So you have to shecht it and eat it, but it would seem to me, as a farmer, you don't want it to be available to you do what you want as soon as possible. I'm confused by the word rashoi, which implies
He's allowed.
that you're allowed.
I think
to
it means
not,
that
but
he
you
doesn't,
have
that
to.
the kohen that's
what's-
coming to take it, or if they're, or the kohen that's available, he doesn't want to give it to him. He wants to give it to someone else, and he's just avoiding giving it to this one, saying he's going to postpone it until he finds the kohen that he wants. So we're saying that he can't postpone it anymore. You have to give it. But what our question here on the Mishnah is, where does that month come in? The Mishnah says that after the first year, only 1 month. Does that mean only 1 month if it had a mum after the first year? Or does that mean only 1 month even if it had a mum within the first year? You have till the 12 months plus an extra month. Now, the way Rashi is writing this is that within its first year, you have 12 months from when it has a mum, which throws me off a little bit, and after the 12 months, if it has a mum after the 12 months, in the second way of reading it, you have 30 days from when it has a mum. So the 12 months and the 30 days mean not from when it's born, but from when it has a mum.
That's how I read Rashi.
That's it.
Yeah, ve'im la'achash shnaso after nolad hamum. If after this year, that's when the mum appeared. Kamenu shloshim yom, and they can.
Then you keep it for 30 days from the mum.
That's how I read it.
Okay, that's I understood that clearly. But there's something here that's not so clear, but that is that if it has the mum within the 12 months, that you have 12 months from when the mum occurs. That's not so clear, because I would have understood that you have 12 months from when it's born, right? Is that what it says there? 12 months from when it's born, or 12 months from the mum? It's not so clear. So okay, but whatever the case is, that's not our Gemara's question. Our Gemara's question is the 30 days. Is it automatically 13 months? Or is it 12 months, and then if the mum occurs later, then it's an extra month? Then it's so Toshima, come and listen. The Tanya was taught in a Brisa. Did I make a bracha already? I think so.
Right.
I didn't. That's a taste I didn't have today yet. Okay, it was taught in a Brisa. Bechor bisman hazeh, a bechor nowadays, ad shlei nira lareisa l'chacham. The Brisa says until you are able to show it to a chacham, which means until it has a mum that you could show it to a chacham. We said you have to show it to an expert. Rashai l'kaimei shtayim v'shali shanim. You can hold it for 2 or 3 years. It didn't have a mum. What are you supposed to do? No mum, you can't shecht it. So you can hold it. What happens once it has a mum? Now the timer starts. If the mum, the blemish, occurred in its first year, you can hold on to it for 12 months. Does it express? Does it say clearly 12 months from when it's born, or 12 months from the mum? Doesn't say it clearly. So Rashi before also didn't say it clearly, but the Shita Mekubetza says 12 months from the mum. He adds a word into Rashi. So if you look at the Yud Daled in the Rashi, Rav Naftali, there's a Rashi closer to the top. It says Kol Yud Beis Chodesh Ad Shiyu LaShnei Chodesh Misha Noilad.
I'm sorry, where are you looking?
There's a Rashi. He's Kol Yud Beis Chodesh. The Rashi is. It says Ad Shiyu LaShnei Chodesh Misha Noilad.
Wow.
But then if you look at that Yudalit in the Shita, it's all 12 months from when it's born. But then when you look at the Shita Mekubetzes, you should know Hamum, from when the mum occurred. So it changes the whole pshat. So, okay.
How does the Shita Mekubetzes know to make all these emendations?
I think
everywhere?
he lived in Egypt about 400 years ago, and he must have had other manuscripts.
Oh, because he's always changing it in
yeah.
words.
Yeah, and it's mostly he does this in Seder Kachim. He's always changing the text, but the Shita Mekubetzes was a collection of commentary that he wrote on other Masechtas. On Seder Kachim, he's on the side of the Gemara changing the text.
What was his real name? Do you know?
Betzalel Ashkenazi. He was a teacher of the Arizal.
Betzalel Ashkenazi, who lived in Egypt.
Yeah. It's always like that. When you come from an Ashkenaz land and you move to Sephardic country, then they call you Ashkenazi.
Oh.
That's why it became a Sephardic name.
Ashkenazi is a Sephardic thing.
Yeah.
When it came to Sfas, it was called the Egyptian.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
1 second. The Arizal.
Yeah.
When the Arizal comes.
Why did he move to Egypt?
I don't know what he was doing in Egypt. I don't know.
Because, in
He
general,
went by
you're
the
not supposed
Nile
to
and
go
he was
back to
learning the
Egypt.
Zohar and it cries every.
The Arizal, there's something there with him in Egypt.
For 10 years, he would sit there by the Nile trying to learn the Zohar. He couldn't. He would go home. The only thing he would ask the only thing he would talk in Shabbos was like pass the salt or something like that. And finally, it says that Eliyahu Hanavi had compassion. He came and said, like, opened it up for him.
Wow.
So the story
He
goes.
was in denial.
It's very
Very
interesting.
cute.
And once he got there, he didn't live long.
Sfas.
Yeah. Only lived a couple of years.
We have one source, I think, where in the Shita Mekubetzes itself, I think he quotes his student, Arizal. And I think in the Geniza, I think we found a document from the Arizal, but it was a business document. It wasn't a... Okay, so if there's a mum within his within its first year, you can keep it for 12 months. Let's keep that vague. But however, achar shnasei, after a year, and it keeps doing this. It doesn't say what it means. After a year, what? After a year, it had a mum, or you're keeping it, whatever the case is. After a year, you can't even keep it for 1 day. Even 1 hour after a year. Again, it didn't really help us out, but because of returning a lost subject, the labailim, to the owners, you see, what would happen is, if we would follow this to the T, okay, after a year, you don't even have an hour. You have to slaughter it right away. Okay, slaughter it right away. So now where is the kayan? Oh, we have to go find the kayan. But the meat's going to spoil. So the kayan would end up losing out on the meat. But, okay. So, but what the Gemara thinks over here is that it's clear that the 30 days is talking about
when you shechta, could you eat it yourself, or you have to give it to the guy?
you have to give it to the kayan. You would have to hold it until a kayan shows up. So what would happen if you shechta?
It's talking about the kayan, or you're talking about the person?
That would be when you bring it as a karban. That's without a mum, right? Lifnei Hashem Lakech means you bring it as a karban.
No, but he's bringing proof for a mum. He says, what, wait,
No,
you're
one
talking
second.
about Rabbi Lesser?
No, I'm not in Rabbi Lazia. Okay, so what the Gemara thinks here is that if it had a mum during its year, then after the year, you don't even have 1 hour to shecht it. However, we give you 30 days just to salvage the meat for the kayan. So the Gemara thinks right now that we're talking about that the 30 days are an extra 30 days that you have to the 12 months. You really have we've now extended the time that you have a year and 30 days. That's what the Gemara thinks. The Gemara then, though, says that it's not so. If you read it again, you're left with the same problem. But I still have a question. Is the 30 days after the year, or is it within the year? That means, when is the mum? Was the mum during the year, and that's when you get the 30 days? Or is the mum after the year, and that's when you get the 30 days? Maybe there is no 13 months. You have 12 months. And shleishim, what does it say? After the year, it says you don't even have an hour. That would mean you don't even have an hour from when the mum occurs after the year, possibly. You don't even have an hour. But we gave you 30 days so that the meat doesn't get lost, so you can find the coin. Tashema, come and listen. If it has a mum, and it's 15 days within the end of the year, so this is finally we have a proof. You never get any time after the year. You never get a full month after the year. You only get 30 days from when the mum occurs. So what would happen is like this: if the mum occurred within its first year, then yes, you could finish the year. But if the mum occurred within the last month of the year, then however many days into that month it occurred, you would get 30 days from the mum, and it would continue after the year, but only 30 days. So you would get possibly 15 days after the year, because we're not extending it a full 30 days. So now what we're understanding is that the 30 days are 30 days if the mum occurs after the year. You don't get automatically a year and 30 days. And if the mum occurred while it's within its first year, then that's it. End of the year is up. That's it. If it occurs in the last month, then you'll get in proportion to you'll get 30 days, which means it will continue several days after the year is up. Messiah Rabbi Lazar. This proves Rabbi Lazar.
Why are you getting the 30 days if it happened within the first year and the last month? Why is that different?
Because the mum just occurred, and if you slaughter it right away, then you're going to lose the meat. So you always get 30 days from the mum.
Oh, you always get 30 days.
But however, if those 30 days are extending the first year, so part of those 30 days will be within the year, and part of the 30 days will be after the year. But if the mum occurred sometime in the middle of the year, you don't automatically get 30 days after the year. You can finish the year. This proves to Rabbi Lazar's rule. Rabbi Lazar says you get 30 days from when the mum occurs. However, there's a little bit of a problem here. There are some that teach Rabbi Lazar's ruling exactly the opposite of this, and then we're going to be left with a question. Right now we said, this proves Rabbi Lazar. Very, very, very nice. But however, some say Amar Rabbi Lazar said totally different. Exactly the opposite. How do you know that if a mum occurred within the year that you can finish the year plus an extra 30 days? Before Hashem your God, you can eat it year by year. Sounds like 2 years, a year, and then the next year, Shana Bishana. Is he reading it like a vav, Shana Bishana? We had this before, and we were learning it. What type of year goes into the next year? We said that it means that we're not following a calendar year. What's the year over here? Ezehu. Hein Yamim Chashuvim Shana Haviyem Shleishim Yom. What amount of time is considered a year? We say 30 days. Because there are certain halachas where 30 days is considered a year. Now the Gemara asks on this interpretation of Rabbi Lazar that you have an extra 30 days. Meisvei. We have the Bais that we just quoted. You can only complete 15 days afterwards. You don't get automatically a brand new month, or a full 30 days after the year. The Gemara explains Hashlama in miava, Hashlama in miava lai. You only complete it. You don't give him an extra 30 days. You just complete the 30 days which already started within the year. Tiyufta de Rabbi Lazar Tiyufta. According to the second interpretation, the second version of Rabbi Lazar, we have a strong question from the Bais.
You know, there must be some kind of rabbinically approved workaround today for this whole problem. Because how could you have a commercial ranching operation in Israel if you have to worry about all this at this level?
Right.
There must be some way to say, I don't know.
Did we say if the non-Jew was a partner, it's exempt?
Yes,
may be able
even
to
in an
do
ear. We said even if he owns an ear,
Right.
then the thing is exempt. You think that's how it's done?
Probably. And Bechor doesn't matter in Chutz La'aretz, right? We didn't mention anything about
Except with people.
with people. No, I'm saying it doesn't matter Chutz La'aretz. That if an animal is a Bechor is born in Chutz La'aretz, you still have to do the mitzvah of Bechor. It doesn't matter. It's not. I was at a Pidyon Peter Chamar. I was in Minnesota, maybe, I don't know, 30 years ago. And there was someone there that, I forgot the family name. I think they had a butcher store over there. I forgot the family name.
And they'd had a donkey born?
And maybe they did it just for the mitzvah. They bought a young donkey and they waited till it gave birth. And I remember the confusion because they wanted to exchange the sheep. Someone was holding the donkey, someone was holding it. They didn't know if they could put it down to get the sheep. So these two people are holding these young animals, and they're trying to exchange it, but you can't. It takes two hands. You can't get the other one without this. And someone says, you can put it down and take the other one. And then they served everyone a meal, hot dogs, not from the... Okay.
Donkey dogs. Donkey dogs.
Hasheichet es ha-bechor. What's the bach? Hasheichet ha-bechor. You take out the word es. Okay. If someone slaughters a bechor, now that doesn't sound good. Why did he slaughter a bechor? Umar es mumai. And then afterwards he goes to the chacham and says, look, and he shows him the carcass. And he says, look, it had a mum before. This is okay, right? After the fact, he goes to show. Rabbi Yehuda says, that's okay. If it had a mum, then it was okay. Because he slaughtered it without the expert opinion here, it's usher. It's forbidden. Now we'll get into that a little bit in the Gemara.
Probably work for the OKs.
That was nasty.
Misheina mumcha, b'rayas bechar. Someone that's not an expert, and he looks at the bechar. This is probably the most common issue. V'nishchat al piv, and then he says, "Yeah, it's not a problem." Hareza yikaver. It has to be buried. Yishalmi Bais, and the guy has to pay for his bad advice.
The mumka, the supposed mumka.
The supposed mumcha, right? This is when people first start going to shul. So the guy sitting next to them in the row, and it's like the rabbi, and he answers all the questions. But after a few years, you have to tell him that, listen, you can't keep taking advice just from every guy in the shul. Here he had a bukhar. The guy next to him in the shul says, "Oh yeah, it's not a problem. I do this all the time." He says, "No. Now he has to pay for it." Okay. Now, apparently, the Mishnah is following Rav Meir's opinion, because Rav Meir is the one that says that if you show it to a monk afterwards, that's no good. Right?
No, Rabbi Yehuda matirs it.
Rabbi Yehuda would allow it. Mm-hmm. So if someone that's not an expert looked at the Bechar, says it's fine, He goes ahead and shechts it, so he has to pay him. Now, according to Reb Meir, he would have to pay him. Was there really a mum in there or not? Let's say there was really a mum in there. According to, and he has to pay. The guy has to pay. It must be Reb Meir's opinion, or maybe not. Maybe there was no mum. We'll see in the Gemara. Maybe there was no mum, and he shechted it too early, and he has to pay him just because of that bad advice. And it could be the guy was really right, and he still has to pay him because of it passing like Reb Meir.
Well, what's the worst that happened? You shechted, you find out it didn't have a mum, and now you give it what there is to the Kohen. You saved the Kohen the problem of shechting it, right?
No, if it's slaughtered without verifying if there's a mum, then this could have been really a sacrifice. And you slaughtered a sacrifice, so then the animal needs to be buried.
Okay.
Amar Rabba Bar Chana.
Here it says that
Rabba Bar Chana.
it says that the animal has to be buried, and the non-expert is the one that pays the compensation to the Kohen from his property.
Right.
It's not the owner of the animal, but
Right,
it's
it's
the
the
non-expert,
non-expert,
that he went
right.
to ask him his advice.
Right. Okay. So Rabba Bar Chana says, "B'dukan shaba'ayin, the kuli alma like pligi the aser neshem mishtanen." We had two interpretations what dukan shaba'ayin was. If it was a mum on the eyelid, or if it was cataract in the eye, some sort of film that grows over the eye. Now, Rabbi Bar Chana says those are considered a mum. The only problem is that you can't look at it after the animal dies, because the eye changes when it's alive. So if you would look at it while it's alive, you would say, "Oh, this may be a temporary thing," and then afterwards, after it dies, it says, "Oh, this is a permanent." It would appear to be a permanent thing. Yeah, that was B'dukan Shabayan. So.
What was that?
Oh, so he wants to say B'dukan Shabayan.
Means
that it needs to be something that he can do. So you're trying that would mean that it was something that you can do and not a cataract that grew there, right? So, right, because he had to do it.
Can you take 1 minute out and
What was that?
retell that story?
The story of Kamsa Bar Kamsa.
I just remember them
You know
them not being invited.
Right. So
but I
then
don't
he goes to
remember
the
this part
he
of
goes to
the
he goes to the
Emperor.
Roman emperor. He says the
Blemished.
Jews rebelled against you. He says, "How do you know?" He says, "Send them a sacrifice, and we'll see."
Uh-huh.
So
that's
because
right.
halachically you could take a sacrifice from a goy.
All right.
So he sent the sacrifice, and he did a blemish on the Dukin
Yeah.
Shabbat.
Oh, I didn't know.
That was where he did the blemish, because there's a lot of machlokes on that. So he was hoping. So they reviewed the animal and they said we can't take it. So I mean, they said it couldn't take it. So then, but the Rabbanim said, because of the shalom of the Medina and the shalom of the king, we should take it. So I think it was Rabbi Yossi Bar Kisma.
Zachariah ben of Kulas or something.
It's because of the stringency.
He said he said no. He
Because
says,
of
if we're going to take
humility,
it from the king, we're going to start taking it for everybody, and what's going to happen to our Torah? So he insisted that you can't take it, and then he said, look, here's the proof. They didn't take your sacrifice, they rebelled against you, and they came in with the armies. So you got to be careful on the Dukin Shabbai.
Yeah, but from that it comes out that it must have been something that you can do, not a growth, not a
Yeah,
cataract.
yeah.
And
So
from there came the Dukes of Hazzard.
Ooh.
So if it's impossible, if it's impossible,
This passes around to the person who says something intelligent.
if the blemish is on the eyelid, so then there's no machlekes. Both Reb Yehuda and Reb Meir, I should say, Reb Meir and even Reb Yehuda would say that the animal is usher because it switches after it dies and it changes. However, leinechleku, so where is the machlekes Reb Yehuda and Reb Meir? Ela b'mumin shebeguf, on other blemishes on the body. Now, the Reb Meir savar gozrin and mumin shebeguf atu dukin shabayin. Reb Meir says, look, on dukin shabayin, on the eyelid, it would change after he dies, and then you will not be able to examine. So therefore, we have to make a decree that all other blemishes as well, if the person shechs without taking it to the expert, it could be that it would be a type of blemish that you would not be able to examine afterwards. So some blemishes you can, and some blemishes you can't. We make a gzeira that all of them are forbidden. Rabbi Yehuda says, we don't make a gzeira. Dukin shabayin, those you can't examine, and those are taka. That would be usher. But other blemishes that you could examine afterwards, so you go examine it afterwards.
So it was chayav and akulas.
Right. Okay. Tanya Nami Hachi. Was taught in the Bais. What was his comment? As a chayav and akulas, he said that people are going to say that we. Will say that you're allowed to bring.
So then they said, let's kill the messenger.
They said people say that. Right. That's a Gittin.
I go to the going of Google.
Rabbi Google.
Never heard of Rabbi Google?
Google in Hebrew and you type in it in?
Yeah.
You Google in Israel.
There's a going of Google. Rabbeinu Google.
Tanya Namihachi was taught in the Bais as well. If someone slaughters the firstborn, umares mumav, and he shows the mum afterwards, you get this. Es mumay. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda says, "Bedukin shabayin aser, neishay mishtanen, bemumin shabiguf mutter, neishay mishtanen." Very clear, exactly like what Rabbi Baruch said. That Rabbi Yehuda would agree that if it's a blemish in the eye, that it would be usher to show it after the animal is dead, because it switches. You can't do the same examination after it's dead.
The body switches?
Yeah, you can't tell. What would look to be something that would heal, or something that was permanent before, maybe now looks like heal, or something that was that could heal now looks like it's permanent. That would be the big deal. While it was alive, it would say, "Oh yeah, just leave it; it's going to heal." And then after it dies, you look at it; it says, "No, this is not going to heal." So it looks permanent. It looks like a real mum.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. A person who's getting a cataract, a lens, what was it? Not cataract. What is it?
You
a
said
cornea
that
transplant. Right, from a cadaver, they must get it immediately, just like a heart or anything else, because otherwise there's changes. I mean, It just sounds, again, like the post-mortem changes, if it's not immediate.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's so much, even by a cornea. I think